For the first time in my life, I get to play against Phil Hellmuth, the greatest No Limit Hold'em tournament player of all time. The hardware speaks for itself. 16 WSOP bracelets. You would think I'd be nervous, but this is not a tournament. We're going to be playing high stakes cash games. And No Limit Hold'em cash games are what I've spent my entire career playing. Phil, on the other hand, his cash game skills have been highly debated on the internet over the years.
You're not better at Phil Ivey at like literally except promoting. That's it. That's all you got. Phil Ivey would mash you in every other format, and I'll bet my money on it. And if there's Phil Ivey, there's other examples, not even Phil Ivey. Explosion's about to happen.
Bring the trike! Bring the trike! Oh, you can't drive a bike. You're the best, Phil.
You guys are the best.
I have to clean you out every time I play with you. I love it.
According to Phil, he's one of the best in the world at cash games.
Not cash games are not your forte.
And after a lot of social pressure from the community for him to put his money where his mouth is,
what the heck was that?
he agreed to buy in for $300,000 and play deep stacked in these live stream cash games. And let's just say that that did not go well for him.
And he calls.
I got him. I feel, take that. Hey, I'm an amateur, dude.
He's done.
If I can't trap the crazy guy with ace-king versus aces, I'll just quit.
So today's version of Phil Hellmuth is the short stacking version, which is going to make it a little bit tougher to win a lot of chips from him. But I'm up to the challenge, and to be honest, it would be a bucket list item to have Phil blow up on me as a result of winning a big hand against him.
How do these players even last this long? It's just unbelievable. This kid probably won't last another hour.
In fact, this single quote from Phil inspired my latest hoodie drop. And these are the highest quality hoodies that I have ever made. I wanted to make something that I truly love, so I went with a more slouchy, oversized fit on these. I'll drop a link in the comments if you want to pick one up and support the channel.
Hello and welcome to Bally's, the bicycle casino here in Los Angeles, California. It's time for some more cash, no limit, high stakes.
We are playing 5,100, and as you can see, I buy in for $30,000. Phil is in for $10,000, and I have direct position on him. I think the only thing that he knows about my game is that I'm a professional poker player. But that might not be entirely accurate, as I was surprised to get a shout out from Phil before the first hand was even dealt.
Are we live now? Okay, here's what I want to say. I was following the JohnnieVibes story. It was incredible what he did. He's in a bar somewhere in Minnesota.
No, it was in San Diego. It was in a bar that I was a regular at. These two bartenders, they watched my blog, and one of them just had a baby, and he's like, I don't really get to play poker anymore. Long story short, I just felt inspired in the moment to say, I got you this weekend if you want to play some poker. I thought the money was just going to evaporate and he would have a good time. But he ended up getting fourth place for over $40,000.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And he shared the winnings with the other bartender. He got to keep over 20 grand.
Oh my gosh.
I actually made some money on the deal too. So yeah, it just worked out amazing.
It was so incredible. And I know that half the poker world, we were all following it, right? Because he's like, oh, I staked this bartender. Oh, he made day two. And I know I was looking for updates. I thought it was so cool. And then you got rewarded financially too.
Yeah. I actually made a video of how this went down, but I gotta say it was really cool to know that Phil was tracking this. His first ever notch on the Hendon mob as well. Okay, enough niceties, Phil. It's time to battle. And battle is just what I do as I come out swinging with a bunch of raising and re-raising in the first hour of play.
And Vibes is coming after him. Big 4-bet with the king-queen off.
I really just got lucky with the run out here. Probably the only river that allows me to bluff and win this hand.
She's gonna fold, I think.
Wow.
Good run out for me.
Yeah.
To bluff with.
I thought that was a very time moment right there.
But things are going well, and none of my hands have shown down. I tango with Jungle Man in a few big ones early on. Yes, the Jungle Man, the reigning back-to-back 50K WSOP Players Championship winner. Probably not the best guy to go to war with, but we aren't backing down from anybody today. In this first hand against Jungle, I decided to go to war with the King 5 of Spades and make a 4-bet in position.
JohnnieVibes getting out of line with the King 5 of Spades. Jungle, what's he gonna do here with the jacks? Makes the quick call. This pot's already huge. 8,200 in the middle. And the flop is ace 8-7 rainbow. Johnny's gonna c-bet, try to rep the ace.
C4, 1,600.
Uses the internet bet, very small. It's what the solvers tell you to do. Jungle just with the jacks. Back-to-back 50,000 players champion.
Call.
We're gonna see a turn. It's a 4 of hearts.
Check.
Vibes picks up a gutter. So you want to keep barreling. See that hoodie? It looks like a bunch of bandanas kind of pieced together. Johnny's going to go for another barrel. Counting out some yellows. Big bet, 7,000.
Folded ages ago.
Really nice bet from Vibes. The vlogger came to play. Bluffs Jungle off the best hand.
Still, none of my hands have shown down when I pick up aces in the small blind. I 3-bet Jungle's $300 open to 1,500. I get a good flop for our range, which means that in general, we're going to have stronger hands on this board in comparison to Jungle's hands. Which also means that even if I didn't have a strong hand, I would bluff here a lot. So I do just that, and I bet around 30% pot. Jungle decides to raise my c-bet to $4,500. Holding the ace of spades in my hand, I decide the best course of action is to bluff catch here. So I just toss in the call. Turn comes the ace of hearts, and now I have the nuts. Jungle now has the betting lead though, so I check it over to him. He now fires out a sizable $8,000 bet. I go deep into the tank here, trying to figure out what he has. With 2 flush draws and being out of position, it's generally advisable to check raise our very strong hands here. The problem is that I block all of the strongest hands and strongest draws. So I really just think that he's bluffing. And if I call, this will put the pot at just shy of 30,000. We'd still have another 21,000 or a little bit more behind. So I'm gonna just call here and hope he blasts off on the river.
Vibes just calls. Slow playing. $28,000 in the pot. The river's a brick. Vibes is gonna check. Is Jungle gonna go for this? If he does, he can kiss that money goodbye. Jungle is not a quitter. See him riffling those yellow chips. He's thinking, this guy's a vlogger. He's put a lot of money in here. Can I get him to fold?
Check.
He gives up. Johnny's going to win a big pot.
I could have fucked you big time. I could have got you big time. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm just glad it wasn't 4 or 5 of spades.
Every street, I thought you might think I'm like coming after you because of a one hand. But actually, yeah, it wasn't really effective.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's 3-bet like 3 times already. It looks like
I think
he's
he had it
maniac.
the other end too.
As you can see, things are going great. I'm up around 15,000. Phil thinks I'm a maniac. The only hand that I played with Phil so far was a limp pot. Phil limped in and I decided to overlimp the 10-6 of spades. This is definitely not standard, but it's my first chance to get in there versus a short stacked Phil. I don't want to raise his limp because he's been known to limp in there under the gun with traps. After the flop comes out and Phil decides to bet multi-way, with second pair and a few back doors, I make the call. And we go heads up to the turn, which is an ace. Bad card for me, and normally you would think it'd be a bad card for Phil, but like I said, he's the type of player that can limp in with aces, ace king, ace queen. So I'm not really removing any hands from his range at this point. And now Phil bets nearly half his stack, and I really don't want to double him up with a weak hand here, so I just let it go right here on the turn. Turns out he had a bluff, so round 1 goes to Phil. In the meantime, Phil ends up doubling up after cooling off Bill Klein, so the stage is getting set. Phil now has over 20,000. and we are both vibing and thriving.
That's
so good. Unfortunately, the vibing and thriving does not last long for myself because I make a big blunder. Rather than taking my foot off the gas pedal in this spot, I went ahead and made another 4-bet with ace deuce suited. I was not paying attention to Robbie's stack size before I did this. Huge mistake because when she ends up jamming, I have a spot where I just have to call, unfortunately, given the price.
Probably.
JohnnieVibes is kind of pot committed here.
You have to call it.
I thought you had like 20K when I did this.
Johnny with a little misread of the stack.
11.
11-3.
11-3.
I don't see no. Yeah, she can't.
Horrendous.
Oh, she just maintained the lead.
Robbie's still ahead here. Just needs to fade an ace or running clubs.
Imagine a 2 comes out. Please don't manifest it.
It's a real good turn. Robbie's going to win a $24,000 pot.
Nice hand, Robbie J.
All for the vlogger. Robbie Jade Lou, ladies and gentlemen. Jack 4 herself.
I want to say one. Can I say one more thing about? Oh, go ahead, Robbie.
No, go ahead. I was going to say something. I'm just like ace deuce suited, huh?
That's better than what I was going to say.
It's the worst hand that I've done that with.
Of course.
JohnnieVibes steps in doo-doo there.
But as you can see, despite getting caught with that ace deuce, I am not turning off the aggression. Maintaining my aggressive image, I get talked into showing a check raise bluff on the flop.
Here at the bike.
Oh, shit.
Spoke too soon.
They play street poker here,
He
guys.
went crazy.
Then a couple hands later, another squeeze play here with ace 10. This time versus Phil, and again, I get another speech from Phil.
Apparently,
Why
I'm
you
like
give me the money? You
slightly
know I have it,
shorter.
don't you?
And I weigh like less than 170 pounds.
Yeah. Right.
I think it would be close.
Really?
You know what? I think you.
Remember how he 3-bet space?
My muscle endurance is.
You don't have to smash that like button with a hammer. Just use your thumb.
Check.
Check.
Javier Nova says this commentator's a savage. Thank you, Javier. Finally, someone gets it.
What kind of poker player would I be if I didn't let you just win hands like this? So you're
Hellmuth.
dead later for the biggie.
It may not look like it, but he does have chirping chips.
But what did you show, Phil?
And Jack. But I have to let him steal now. I want everybody to have the impression they can always steal from me. And then I have a way of like playing even tighter and just showing them nuts.
You see our cameraman there. We work these boys hard. Big yawn.
It's the long con. The
long con.
No, I make them. I make them do it.
Yeah.
And I keep showing, oh, I had 10 Jack, I had no defender.
They don't even realize it.
Yeah, like he might have just bet 4.
That's how good it is. No one even realizes.
And when I catch him later, he'll be shocked.
He'll be stunned.
It's like I'm a puppet, and he's like...
He's the puppet master.
And he's like making my hands go in the pot.
He's the puppet master.
The momentum is definitely building. I just need to find a hand against Phil so I can unlock the ultimate bucket list item, the patented Phil Hellmuth blowup.
What did I do? He's going to give you all the money, Phil. What the are you doing?
My next opportunity comes with Bill raising it up on the button. Bill calls in the small, and I close the action with King 9. The flop is obviously great. As you can see, we flop trips. Bill checks it back though, so we're gonna need to get some turn and river value. So when Phil checks again, I'm gonna put out a small bet here, 600. Bill folds, Hellmuth makes the call and checks quickly on the river. It's very apparent that Phil has an ace here. The flush draw has bricked off, so I just don't see how he can fold here for a 75% pot bet. I'm so excited that I can barely contain myself, smiling and laughing because all he has to do is toss in the call. We get to show our trips and we get to bask in the Phil Hellmuth blow up glory. I'm gonna bet 2,000.
I mean, all I have is ace 10.
Oh my God,
Vibes.
show block. Just show it, show it.
Okay, so unfortunately that wasn't my moment, but as you can see, he's not sure if his laydown was good, so I can definitely feel the steam starting to accumulate.
But now I'm going to make a prediction. Now is where they all give me the money, because I showed all those laydowns. Now it's mine.
Is the stream
The only
almost
person
over?
I'm giving money to is Jungle.
You are going to give me money. I'm going to trap you 4 more
So all a
times,
setup from
'cause we have
Phil.
another hour and a half.
Just
Phil
trying.
straddles, I open Queen 10 under the gun. Phil defends, and we go heads up to a flop. Flopping top pair, I'm gonna go ahead and put out a small bet. Phil makes the call and the turn comes and I drop a little speech play here before checking this one back.
I'm not falling for it.
I'm basically just hoping that a club bricks off on the river. That way we can bluff catch here. River comes and the club does in fact brick off. Phil leads for pot and this is the moment. This is what I've been waiting for. With this sizing, it means that either he has a 3 or a bluff.
Vibes pays it off.
I thought.
Okay, so this wasn't our moment either, but session is not over. Not giving up, and we have one last shot for Phil Hellmuth, blow up glory. As you can see, the last couple times I've raised under the gun when Phil is in the straddle. It seems to be one of the only situations where he's actually putting in chips at this point. Pulls all the way around to Phil and he defends his straddle. I do flop a pair and check it back, but to be honest, this is a spot I definitely should be betting. I hold the range advantage and I have some cards that can come on the turn that can allow me to go 3 streets, one of which actually turned, a diamond. I decide now to throw out a little value bet to deny equity against random cards higher than a 6. Phil comes along and we get our glorious river card. We river the flush. Phil checks again, and now it's time to finally get our coveted Phil Hellmuth blow up. This is definitely the one. Of course, I go for nearly a full pot size bet, 1,200 into 1,300. Blow up in 3, 2, 1.
Hellmuth's gonna snap him off, and Vibes is gonna see the bad news.
Wow.
All right, squad. Well, we did not get our Phil Hellmuth blow up. It was a crazy up and down session. Phil got a gift from Jungle in a huge pot and went into lockdown mode, folding ace king before the flop twice. So it was going to be really difficult to win a sizable pot off him. But I did have a lot of fun and I mixed it up and had a great time. But what's my verdict on Phil Hellmuth as a cash game player? I actually think that he has a sick feel for the game, obviously, especially when short stacked. However, when he manages to get some chips together, he plays far too tight and locks up his wins.
Hellmuth playing tighter than a rubber band on a whale's nipple. He's gonna shoot it up with kings.
Good or bad, I'd love to play with Phil anytime. His antics don't bother me at all. In fact, they entertain me. And like I said, I wanted the Phil Hellmuth blow up. It was a bucket list item. Ended up winning nearly $6,000 on stream. I will take it. And by the way, I've decided to start putting myself out there a lot more on these live streams. So if you stay locked to this channel, you will see plenty more hand breakdowns from cash games. There's still hope that I'll have my Phil Hellmuth blow up moment, but for now, that will have to wait.
Still ain't even playing this game.
Hi, what's up guys? New hoodie, it's a vibe. Las Vegas state of mind. Slouchy fit, I'm wearing a large, I'm 6 foot. Probably the last hoodie that I'm gonna make before the WSOP. So cop them, only made 50 of them.